Hey, it's Adrian. Just before we get you to this episode, do me a favor and head over to pageantlaunch.com. We are starting the world's first dedicated pageant review site to make the pageant industry safe, transparent, and fair. Three things that I know it is most of the time, but it's not like that all of the time. So head over to pageantlaunch.com, enter your email address, it's completely free, and let's get you to this episode. And we are in swap Chloe and Charlotte over. Hello, everyone. It's Adrian from the Pageant Project. We are up to Pageants and PJ episode 40. I have to believe that. Excuse me whilst I die a little bit here. Our special guest for today is a very, very familiar, popular, and famous face, and used to be the real life Barbie.
Yay!
Charlotte, everyone's photographer. Charlotte, how are you?
Oh, I'm good. Thank you so much for having me on. Again, I'm excited.
Yeah. It's been a while. I can't remember exactly when the last time we had you on was, but do you want to catch us up with everything? I think the last time we spoke would have been around Galaxy time, before or after. So it's been like 6 months. So why don't you catch us up with everything that's been going on in the last 6 months?
Well, it's been probably obviously the craziest 6 months ever. During lockdown, so when I last saw you at Galaxy, obviously I had to close my studio, and that was obviously really sad. But then I launched like a whole big campaign for Women's Aid and did FaceTime photo shoots online, which was such a success. And I raised £3,000 for Women's Aid, so I was really, really chuffed about that. So that was kind of like kept me busy during lockdown. And then when we came out of lockdown, do you know what? I can't even really remember when it was now. Was it kind of like June when we came out, or like July?
So I can't remember then, yeah.
All right, anyway, like it's all blurred. Whatever it was. I kind of got straight back into it with our photo shoots with the Glam Squad, and sadly all my wedding work was postponed. But I've enjoyed getting stuck into the studio. And that's it really, just been like busy working, and things kind of feel like they're going back to normal. And then now I'm like a bit unsure. So anyway, just taking like each week as it comes really work-wise at the minute.
So what's the state at the moment of lockdown for all of you? Because we've discussed this before, every part of the UK is different. So Charlotte, for yourself, what's lockdown at the moment?
Do you know what? I literally feel like you're asking the wrong person, because I don't really know what's going on. And I'm married to a policeman. I don't know. I'm like really confused. I think at the minute, in like Leeds and Yorkshire, you can't go into each other's houses, but you can go to restaurants and see people out of your household in a restaurant. I think that's where it is at the minute. To be honest, I've got a zero social life, so it actually doesn't really massively affect me at all. But all I do know is that the kids are going to school, great, and I'm allowed to work, great. That's it.
That's fair enough. All right, I want to circle back to some of Charlotte's photos because I have them on the screen share here, and I'm going to get her to talk us through some of them because with this new software, that's something we can do. I mean, here's a bunch of Charlotte's.
Oh, wow.
Very,
That's cute.
I mentioned this to Charlotte last time. All of her photos have a very distinct sort of aesthetic. They're very clear, I love them. That clean, clear sort of aesthetic. So we'll circle back to them in a sec. But let me just get rid of that, and I'll go around to Ms. Latimer to catch us up with what's been happening since last week. You still haven't got back onto your book and your rock.
I haven't actually. I attempted and I have been an absolute failure. I don't know what I've done this past week. It's been a blur. Oh yes, I did some very exciting filming, which was really fun.
Can you say what for?
Unfortunately, I signed an NDA, so I can't say what I'm a part of. But it was a long day of filming. And yeah, it was long, but it was a lot of fun, very exciting. Hopefully I'll be able to announce whenever it comes out, which I have no idea.
You are the queen of
Yeah.
self-incrimination. I call you that
Yeah.
for a reason. So enough said. But
Yeah.
that was a lot,
that's
because
about
I got a message from you at like 5 or 6 in the morning, and for once it was you waking up, not staying up until 5 or 6. So,
I woke up the day of filming. I woke up at 2:55 a.m. and I had to be on set for 5:15, and then sat in the hair and makeup chair for at least an hour and a half. So yeah, it was a long day.
Sounds nice though.
And I didn't leave there until 13, 14 hours later. So it was a bit of a crazy day.
Wow.
But ever
That's
since
a
then, it's all
long
been a
day.
bit of a blur. Yeah, long day.
well, I think we can forgive you for having it be a bit of a blur when you're working 13, 14-hour days.
Yeah.
Charlotte, are you a morning person or a night person? I'm asking everyone this.
So when you say night, like, what do you mean? Like, do I sit up to like 1 a.m.? No. So, well, I think anybody who's got children, it just has to be an early bird. So I've got to get up at 6, and usually I do an hour of editing, 6 till 7, or go on my Peloton. Woo! I'm a Pelotoner now.
You have a Peloton.
I've got a Peloton. I feel like I've made it in life.
You're so
I'm so posh. Basically, we've not renewed our gym memberships, and just with everything, I just thought, you know what, I really don't fancy walking into a gym. And then I was going running during lockdown, and then I just kind of got out of the way of it. And then I thought, oh, I'm not going to go running now that it's getting colder. So anyway, we aren't a member of any gym, so me and my husband have got a Peloton. So I'm not going to lie, I've not been on it as much as I wanted yet. But
they're a great investment, though. They're a great investment. It's so funny. When I used to work at the gym, people used to call up and ask if we had Peloton bikes. And I was like,
oh, really?
No, we have a real life instructor.
That's so funny.
on gym. I mean, the whole point of Peloton is that you download the workout. So why would you go? I guess if you can't afford one, maybe you do, but it seems a bit silly.
I think it seems pointless. Funny, Holly Perry said that to me when I told her what I was getting. She said, oh, we've got those at the gym. And I thought, that's so weird. Why would you bother to go to a gym to log on to like a virtual class? But anyway, so I usually get up at 6 every day, and then I'll usually sit up to about 10 working, and then I like 10 to 11 is like my TV time. And that's basically my exciting life.
Do you have like those party spinning classes where they like play the music and like on the Peloton?
Yeah, it's really good. So basically you go in, you select like how long you want to work out for. So like say 30 minutes. I'm still in the beginner zone because I'm so unfit. And then you select like your genre. So I like click pop, but you can do like Destiny's Child, Jennifer Lopez. Like you can select like hits from that person, and then the instructor's like obviously way over the top enthusiastic, but I like that.
I love that. Amazing. So if you don't mind me asking, how expensive are they?
They are quite dear. It's £40 a month.
Yeah.
But
then
you pay more than that on a gym membership as well. And it's great during lockdown. If we go into another one, like at least you've got your gym at home.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I think considering we don't go to a gym now, that's like our gym. So I'm quite happy. Always got the Peloton up. There we go. Yeah. This is good if my mom's watching because she doesn't understand what it is. So there you go, Mum. That's what it is.
And when you break it down as £40 a month as well, that's between two of you, that's 20 quid each. That's way cheaper. That's what you pay for like the gym, like the budget ones, and you've got a really good piece of kit at home there. I think they're brilliant.
Wow.
So there you go.
I've got this. So just in case you guys watching don't know what a Peloton is, it's basically an exercise bike, but you get to download workouts and you can see the screen in front of you. It's interesting. Well, it's funny that Charlotte mentioned that she got one because recently they've come out with a new device, not the same crew, but I think it was an Australian, came out with something very similar, but it's based on cables. And so you can do a weights workout and you have the screen in front of you. It's exactly the same as Peloton, but with weights. And the machine can tighten the cables so that your weights literally become heavier, or they can loosen it up when you become tired. And this is a new thing that's come out during lockdown. And I was looking at it going, I really want to get one of those.
That's crazy.
That's genius.
That is amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy the thing that guys can come up with. So Charlotte's been pelotoning. Danielle has been busy being a famous actress. Miss Davies, what have you been up to in Derry? And can I say, as Charlotte said, it's the first time, and it's very lovely to have two Irish accents on.
Woo!
So I know you were saying how restrictions are different in different parts of the UK at the minute. So where I am, I think restaurants have moved. I think it's from today, but don't quote me on it. I think restaurants have moved to takeaway only, and the bars and stuff are closing for the time being.
Oh, no,
we've had
really?
we've had a crazy amount of cases in my area over the past week or two, and yeah, sorry, I almost coughed there. I haven't got it. I actually got tested yesterday and I don't have it.
Okay, socially.
I'm talking about how Derry is flooded with the virus, and right now I'm coughing, but
she's got the Rona.
No.
She's got the Rona.
But yeah, it's just crazy here. So I've actually took a new job, which is work from home, which is a lot better because at the moment I had a part-time job in a supermarket, and just with everything going on and the amount of rising cases, it'll be nice to have a temporary work from home job, which is good.
Sounds good. Yeah. I'm really sorry for you guys going into winter and possibly going into a lockdown. It's yeah, 2020 has been quite a year, hasn't it? All things considered. I mean, there's no I think, correct me if I'm wrong. I remember I asked this last time, and I think Ireland actually did have Galaxy Island, but I don't remember. Like, aside from that, have there been any pageants going on? Because Intercontinental just got postponed until next year.
Yeah.
So that all of Holly's pageants have been postponed to next year. Are there any pageants left? Is Universe? Is Wales? Is there anything going on in 2020?
I feel like Miss England went virtual this year. I'm not
Did
sure.
it? Was it not a couple of heats, Danielle, or was it the actual thing?
I'm not too sure. So bad. I don't follow Miss England that much anymore. It used to be my be all and end all when I was first competing, but for some reason just haven't been following it that much. I suppose because I don't really know people doing Miss England anymore. But I
know what you mean. There's like something a little bit separate about Miss England than there is kind of about the other pageants.
Yeah.
It's so strange, isn't it?
It is quite odd. I think there's a lot of like newbies that enter Miss England. It is definitely one of the. It's like an entry level. It was my entry level pageant when I first started. So you tend to not know the girls that are competing in that so much because they're not so involved in the pageant community that already exists. They maybe don't know about it. But I'm not sure whether they have gone completely virtual or whether they're gonna wait it out. But I know they definitely did something that was virtual, and they had masks on as well. I think they did like something before. I
saw it in the news.
Yeah.
Which I find really interesting because obviously, Chloe, you know, in Northern Ireland, the big one is Miss Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
Have you ever entered it?
I've never entered Miss Northern Ireland, no, but I have thought about it a few times. It's something I wouldn't rule out, but yeah.
Chloe has basically been asked to participate in pretty much every pageant that I know of, or has participated in every pageant that I know of. How big is aside from the UK, in Ireland itself, how big is the pageant scene?
Well, it's not really as big as a lot of other countries. The big one is usually World, like Miss NI and even Miss Ireland. I remember when I was younger, I competed in Miss Derry, and Miss World is quite hard to get into because you always have to win like a local title before you can go on to the finals. So that was the biggest one for a while. And then Universe came along, and Brittany Mason has been the director for that for the past few years. and she has gone above and beyond. Her shows are literally like something you
really?
would see. Yeah, her shows are
Oh,
literally like something you would see at Miss Universe International stages. I went to watch the finals last year, and I was in love with the entire show. I couldn't
And where
believe
is it,
the
in the north
national.
or the south?
She has it in Dublin, and the staging was unbelievable. It was like in this huge round room, and it was like a huge red carpet, and it was such a huge event. And I feel like the pageant scene is coming back in Ireland, and I'm excited to see the future of it. So yeah,
but
and
the Irish girls have actually done a lot better in pageant history than girls from England, Scotland, and Wales, just in general. I mean, you had Rosanna Davison, who was a former
Miss World,
Miss
yeah,
World, and you've also placed really highly a lot in Miss Universe too.
yeah,
What's her name? Beautiful girl. She should have
yeah.
won. She should have won that year. Who was that? It was 2010. You had, what was her name? I want to say, no, it'll come to me.
I think her name was Rosanna as well.
Rosanna, yeah, that's why I'm like, is it
Yeah,
Rosanna? Is it Rosanna? But it's not
yeah.
Rosanna Davis, and it's Rosanna something else. But she
It
did
starts with a P,
phenomenal.
but I don't want to pronounce it in case I get it wrong.
Yeah,
Purcell?
Rosanna Purcell. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
she was incredible.
Oh, she is beautiful. I always see that video of her in her swimwear, and the confidence is just everything I would aspire to be in life. And
Yeah,
even
she's
the past
amazing.
few years in Universe, like the girls have all done incredible.
Yeah,
We had 2 tops in the past few years, which is incredible. I think it was top 20, or is it
yeah.
16?
I
Yeah.
know Ireland made it. Was it when they held it in Thailand a couple of years ago? Not last year, the year
Yeah,
before.
Grania, she
She
is
made top 20.
incredible, yeah.
Yeah, so
And we had
technically
Colleen
speaking,
in 2017 as well, and she was incredible. I actually went to watch the final in Dublin that year when she won, and even though I'd never met the girl in my life, I'd never jumped up in at a pageant and
Oh,
cheered so much in my life, because that girl was just so amazing and she deserved it. And the way she
yeah.
answered her final question, and she was so adorable. And even her friend made her dress for her. And I was just like, this girl is so sweet and so deserving and worked so hard. And it wasn't her first try at it. So yeah, it's good to see people from your home. Well,
Chloe is
oh,
Chloe is
Crazy.
frozen. Very, very internet, ladies and gentlemen. She'll make it back. Charlotte, do you have any? I apologize if this has been spilled anywhere. Do you have any? When are you entering another pageant, or is that not in the cards?
Oh, I'll definitely do another pageant. I would, love to go back to possibly go to Galaxy again, because I couldn't go back because I had a baby, and then I was offered a place this year, but then obviously pandemic and whatever else. But no, I don't know exactly what I do or when I do it. For me, if I was to compete, it would be because I'd want to win something. So I would have to be doing it really, really seriously. And just at the moment, I wouldn't have that time.
Are you competitive, Charlotte?
It's not even that, because when I did Galaxy, it was more like, I know people say, oh, you only do it because you want to win. It wasn't for me. It so wasn't. I was doing it for every other reason apart from that. It was just, that's why it was such a bonus. And I was so happy when I came first runner up. I was like, this is unreal. So I think if I went again, because I did place so high at such a prestigious international, I'd feel like I'd want it better than I did the last time. So yeah. I'd want to win something. So yeah, and just at the minute, the way my life is, I pretty much work full time. My husband does shift work. We've got the 3 young children, like the eldest is 5 and the baby's 1. So it's just like, I couldn't like commit, and I wouldn't want to do it and not do it properly,
Yeah.
So I think it would probably be, you know, maybe another 18 months before I think about it. But to be honest, goodness knows, like that might be the time when pageants are getting back to normal anyway. And if I was going to make, you know, another go at it, I'd want to do it at a time when it's kind of normal again. I don't want to wear a mask. I'm not spending all that money on hair and makeup and then wearing a mask.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no point. I'd be like, can I pay half price for my makeup? Because you just need to do the eyes. That's all you need to do.
I'm just thinking that what was I going to say? If you actually enter a pageant, though, who's going to take the photos? I mean, you can't take the photos. You can't take the photos.
I did my own headshot anyway. When I did Galaxy when I did it in America, I took my own headshot, just set the camera on timer, and so I would still do that. I would actually like to go to somebody else. Yeah, I would actually, but I know what I liked, and also I think Alex, my husband, would literally kill me if I was paying somebody when I've got a studio that's perfectly fine.
How your studio? Last time I talked to you, I know you were getting it. You were adding. I can't remember exactly. I've never been, obviously, but I think you were adding an area to it, or we were talking about an area where the girls could sit down, have a cuppa, and chat. Have you added another? Because I'm obviously watching you on your Instagram. Have you added another facet to it, or another area, or?
Yeah, I've got an extra room now.
Right.
So during lockdown, it kind of gave me that chance to get like loads of jobs done at the studio. So I've got like my little Vogue wall with all my Vogue magazines, and it just kind of looks a little bit more polished, which I would have loved to have it like at the beginning. But obviously, like anybody starting a business, you're not going to pour all your money into it. So it's kind of been drip feeding bits of money in, and the studio's finally looking a way that I'm really proud of. So I did invest quite a lot of money into an additional room in the studio, which is now the white room. So it was kind of made for like more families and babies and newborn sessions. Of course, actually now it just has turned into like another pageant room. So I'm doing like loads of pageant headshots in there, and it's quite a big model agency over here called Boss, that are in Manchester. And I tested one of their models, and they started to send their models now for test shoots because they love how natural the light is in there. So actually the room, I haven't done one newborn shoot or one toddler. In fact, I did one toddler in it. Otherwise, it's all been pageant girls and models. So that anyway, it's all worked out. So I love it. But everybody that goes into the white room, obviously everything's white. And there's like candles in there. It's very zen. I feel like Danielle, you'd really like it because you're into all your like chill.
Got my candle on right now.
Exactly. I feel like you'd go in and probably do like a little meditation.
Yeah, I'm down for that. I'll bring my crystals.
Yeah.
Magic
it's really
rock.
nice and quiet. And what's really good about it is when you're in there, it's next door to the makeup room. So the glam boys kind of forget that you're in there. And I love eerie wigging, what they're talking about. So like you're in snapping away, and it's like you can just eerie wig on people's conversations. I find it good as well.
I
always thought that's whenever you lick your finger and stick it in someone's ear, no?
Eerie wig?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's like, oh, what's that?
That's a wet willy, no?
Yeah, that's a wet willy.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, you don't want to wet willies during Corona. That's really not no social distance. Put your finger in your mouth. Don't do that. Now we've got a question from Christine over in Chicago, and I'll read it out because I don't know if you guys can see it. It's for Chloe, although Charlotte, coming from Ireland, you might have heard of. She's asked, have you heard of Rose? I competed for the regional here in Chicago. That is a big deal for us here. Oh. And just before you mention it, I've actually been to the Rose of Tralee here in Sydney. I escorted one of my friends, I think, last year. So I have heard about it. But Chloe, have you heard of Rose of Tralee?
I definitely have. It's one of the more popular ones here, although I have never competed. I think there's singing involved with this one, is there?
I think it's like some sort of thing. I don't think it's like a typical pageant.
Yeah.
They don't like being called a pageant. So the girls get dressed up, but they don't walk on, at least in Sydney, they don't walk on stage, for example, and get judged on that. It's almost more based on deportment, acting like a lady, and girls have to do a talent. So my friend...
I know that, acting like a lady. I'd love to know what acting like a lady is. That kind of reminds me of that brilliant campaign that was brought out by all those famous actresses and models that was kind of like, the real feminist thing. And it was like, be a lady, they said. Be a lady, they said. Well, what is a lady?
Yeah.
So I'd like to challenge the Rose of Tralee on exactly what is a lady.
Yeah.
I'm not touching that. A guy like feminism, I'm not that brave. But it was
it seems really
huge from what I've heard. It's actually televised in Ireland, I think.
Why have I never heard of
I
this?
know that it seems huge, and I think they have it outdoors as well.
Danielle, it's not your kind of thing.
Okay. Really? Like, not even if is it not just worth a giggle? Like,
I can't see it being your kind of thing.
It's not, Danielle, it's not about having a giggle, the Rose of Tralee. From my experience, they take it really seriously. They have a committee.
Committee?
It's got a lot of tradition. We should look it up. But Christine, to answer your question, I have heard of it, and I know it's massive in Ireland to the point where it's televised. It's probably bigger than a lot of the pageants. But I don't know how it is in Chicago. You can tell us, but it's not a typical pageant at all.
Okay, what's the differences and the similarities between the two?
Okay, well, as I said, for example, there's no walking on stage and being marked for that.
So there's no like element of modelling.
No. So my experience is so all the girls need bye Chloe.
Oh, bye Chloe, see ya.
Bloody very internet. Hang on, okay. Let me just see if we've got her back. Okay. Popping in.
I'm so sorry. My internet is literally the world's worst.
It is though at home. Like when I go back to my mum's in Northern Ireland, she lives in Lisburn, and I'm editing images, and then I go to put girls' galleries online. It literally takes like 10 times longer to upload a gallery, and I've stopped now. When I go back to Ireland, I just think I'm not even going to do anybody's editing because it just causes me so much stress. And it's like why is it so slow?
I know.
Really super clear. So I don't know what you've done, but let's hope that it stays like that. But as I was saying so my experience was every girl needs an escort, right? This is very different to pageantry. So I was the escort for my friend, not escorting that.
Yes.
But I had to walk arm in arm with my friend and walk her into this ballroom. And there were probably, even in Australia, this is how big the Irish community is and how big a deal Rose of Tralee is. There were probably 200 people sitting there having a full course, all suit and tie.
So is it like a debutante ball? Is that what it's more like?
It kind of is. And the judging, so as I said, there's talent, right? But then the committee decides who wins, and you don't get to see the scores or anything like that. So you don't really know what the judging criteria is.
So it's a talent competition?
No, because they have to do a little thing as well about what their occupation is. So it's really based more on, I guess, your overall appearance and your grace and your elegance. And then you have a talent, and then you have to talk about yourself for about 2 or 3 minutes, talk about your career. And then everyone has a great time. I mean, it's an Irish community thing. I don't want to say too much, but there was a lot of Guinness.
Well, that silly part so far that sounds like it would suit me.
There's a reason for that.
Great night out, I will tell you that much. And I got it for free because I was one of
the escort.
Getting free meal and getting in a nice tux and walking with a beautiful girl on your arm. It's a hard life, but someone has to do it. So that's the Rose.
So where was this? Was this like before you even became into pageants then, Adrian? Was this like before you started doing all this?
Now that I remember it, I went up to Brisbane, the Gold Coast, for Australia Galaxy, and that's when Alicia Van Schoonhoven she won by half a point, which gave me a coronary. And then literally the day after, early in the morning, I flew back down to Sydney, caught a London cab straight from the airport, because if you want to know that you're going to get where you're going to get, you get a London cab, not an Uber, and got him to go straight into the hotel because I needed to go straight to the Rose of Tralee. So 2 kind of pageants in 2 days. But no, it was kind of right in the thick of things. So, but it's not. I think this is why Danielle wouldn't have heard of it, because she's heard of all the pageants and she's now freaking out why haven't I heard of it.
I'm like, why?
They wouldn't describe it as a pageant. I don't know what you would call it, but I know in Sydney they don't like being called a pageant. having said that, one of the committee organizers was picking my brains about pageantry and maybe the things that they could learn from pageantry. But it's so big here in Australia, they had enough money to buy a massive ballroom for the function. And you're talking about 10s, 20s, 30, 40, like tens of thousands of dollars worth of sponsorship. That's how big it is.
They all wear gowns.
Yep.
Are they?
Yep.
Are they all different types of gowns? Are they like ball gowns, pageant gowns, or like?
They're not.
Something significant of the gown.
They're very.
I think that it's more like, yeah, like pageants from the early 2000s or late 90s.
I was gonna say like a prom dress.
Like,
Prom
yeah,
dresses,
like more of a floaty and pretty dress. But I don't think they go out and spend thousands like a lot of pageant girls would. And it's not as much like rhinestones and big
Less
dresses. Yeah.
It's
Got
not glitzy.
Yeah.
It's exceedingly glamorous though, and very elegant. So the emphasis is very much on elegance, from what I understood. And I would think that Sydney.
What's the prize? I know that sounds like a complete non-pageant. You know when you do pageants, people go, "So what do you win?" And I go, "A crown." And they go, "Huh?" I know I sound like one of those people, but I just wondering, what's the prize? Do they go on to like the internationals in Ireland, or what do they get?
Yeah, the international is Ireland, and that's the massive.
Oh.
This is why it's very Irish centric. So this is the other thing I should say. All the girls.
Can I just say, I feel like they're going to be really disappointed when they get to internationals in Ireland, because I feel like what you described is definitely not what happens in the Ireland one.
It's massive. I'm trying to find a photo of it. We'll keep on going. Mandy Simmons at Chapero has said, "We love your studio, Charlotte, Cassie Clemie," and that profile picture, that's one of yours, isn't it, Charlotte?
That's her two gorgeous daughters who are both Galaxy Queens. Yeah, they went to Galaxy last year. And yeah, they're lovely. So I met them they came for a Christmas headshot shoot, and like most of the girls that come to me, we just click. They're just funny. And then during lockdown, because I was doing these FaceTime shoots, I felt like I got to see, obviously I was seeing people's homes. I feel like I've got to know them even more by like having a nose. And then the light wasn't right in the living room, so then they brought me upstairs. So I had a little tour and got to meet their nan, and it was all very sweet.
Here's the photo. This is the photo of me and my friend.
Oh, she's gorgeous.
Oh, wow, she is wearing a pageant dress.
Yeah,
like that was very
pageant
beautiful.
dress.
She's a pageant girl as well. So she.
What did she place?
Well, this is the thing. As I said, you only get to know if you win.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
So you're either the winner or you didn't win. That's it. So there are lots and lots of differences. And in fact, Christine here has said, "OMG, yes, a talent. I'm a champion Irish dancer." And Rachel.
Oh, wow. That's incredible.
So I think they would call it more based on Irish culture. As I said, all the contestants have Irish heritage. So if you don't have some sort of Irish heritage, you can't enter the Rose of Tralee, as far as I understand. But Rachel, my friend here, she's a champion. Well, she's a competitive Irish dancer as well. She can prove it as well. I don't know how you do Irish dancing. It's very, very difficult. But that's the Rose of Tralee. So there you go. Danielle has something.
Every day is a school day, apparently.
You learn something new every day. Christine here has also said, "I remember prior to Mum Life, I did an interview, evening gown, and talent." Yeah, I think that's about it. So the interview, evening gown, and you've got the talent as well.
Have you ever done talent, Danielle?
Yes. Well, I was a dancer. That's what I did my degree in. So when I competed in Miss England, there was talent round. And then when I competed at Miss Globe, there was a talent round there as well, which I technically won, which there was a bit of a mishap with the results. And I won. So I made my Miss Albania, who was the absolute ice queen. I'm sure she won't mind me saying. She's an absolute ice queen. Very, very much like a kind of like can't face her. I made her cry with my dance routine. So I was like, yes. That was like
Oh,
one of my proudest moments of my dancing career was making my Miss Albania cry.
oh,
I did a choreographed a piece around a story about a girl getting cancer and going through. Yeah, it's quite in depth and very emotional. And as you can imagine, it was very emotional, and everyone I got a standing ovation, which was really cool.
Oh, wow. I want to
beautiful.
see it.
I don't have footage of
Me
it.
too.
So
How long ago was it?
this was in 2013.
Do you think you could remember it?
There wasn't that much, like, people didn't have camera phones and stuff.
No,
Yeah.
there's a few
As
clips.
much.
There's a few clips that I could find online. It was just like they did a little trailer every day at Miss Globe, and there were just like little snippets of my dance in there, but not the full video, unfortunately. And there was no live streaming or anything back then. So, I might have to get in contact with them to see if I can find something, because there were cameras, but I just don't have footage of it.
Oh, wow.
Unfortunately. And I did the same routine at Miss Middlesex when I won, because there was a talent round there.
Oh, so you've done a few talents.
Yeah, quite a few. Had a few. Never sing
Dad
them.
jokes being one.
Well, you know what? If there was a talent round now, I probably would do a stand-up routine.
Oh,
And
wow.
it would be horrendous. It would be so bad that it would be so good.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking about it, Danielle. I still think you should do dodgeball as your talent.
As a talent, and just take out one of the judges one at a time.
Up there, and then just start going ham and pecking. For those who don't have context, Danielle was also a competitive dodgeball player. I found this out when I first interviewed. I didn't know dodgeball was a proper competitive sport.
I knew from that film. Isn't there a film called Dodgeball?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that movie.
So, but Danielle was a competitive dodgeballer, so I thought, what's better than in a pageant than just pegging balls straight at.
I had a mean right arm on me.
I can imagine. Okay.
I'd actually be scared of Danielle in a sports environment, because I'm so pathetic when it comes to sports. I get really nervous at balls. I sound like clueless. Balls playing at my face.
Me too.
I actually am. And I'd be really scared. Danielle would have been one of the girls at school I'd be scared at when it came to PE.
Me too.
Yeah, I
would be the sort of...
I was highly competitive.
Tell them the story about your not Usain Bolt story, your David Beckham story, back from when you were the Olympics.
Oh my god, this is just Rip Danielle time.
No, this is really funny, but this will make Charlotte even more scared of you and all the young boys.
What story about David Beckham are you on about? Oh, that one. Okay, because I've got a few.
I know. The walkie-talkie.
So the walkie-talkie one, I don't know if you know, but I was an Olympic youth ambassador. It meant that I was in the same room when London was announced that it won the Olympic Games. So in Singapore, I was 16 years of age, and the London committee, LOCOG, took 30 kids from East London, and I was one of the eldest. And we sat in this very important presentation. It was between, we had to listen to France's presentation, and then we would make our presentation because it was down to the two. So we had these little translating packs that had headphones in them, and it translated everything everyone was saying. So obviously everyone was speaking French and English, and then whenever the English people would speak, it would translate in French. So this kid next to me, who was the youngest of the group, he picked up his plaque and was just playing with it, not really listening to anything it's saying. Bear in mind, this is a very, very important meeting with a lot of Olympians, famous people, very powerful people in the room. And this kid doesn't know what's going on, and he's playing with this pack, and it starts blasting out French. Basically, he's hit the button that's turned it up to max. Everyone can hear it. It's going crazy. Everyone spun around and looked at this naughty little kid who's 11 years of age playing around with his pack. And instincts kicked in. I grabbed the pack, I smashed the bejesus out of it, ripped the batteries out, and threw it back at him. And David Beckham just so happened to be sitting right behind me, and he just burst out laughing. He practically wet his pants. So
what a claim to fame.
Yeah. So he knows
Wow.
me as the girl that beat batteries out of a translation pack.
So were you sat there the whole time like, oh my God, David Beckham's behind?
I didn't realise he was behind me at the point until I heard loads of laughing and looked around and noticed everyone was staring at us. Yeah, and then, 16-year-old me clocks eyes with David Beckham, like almost tears are coming out of his eyes. So, yeah, that was fun.
That
That's
is
a good
so
story.
funny.
I made him laugh twice, though. That was one time I'd made him laugh prior to that. So he already knew who I was and knew how hilarious I was. And that just confirmed how hilarious I was.
Have you ever told that story in a pageant interview?
No, I haven't.
You know when they go, name a funny moment, which I hate that question
Oh.
anyway. How do you get one?
I was going to say, how much time have we got for this interview?
yeah, without us taking your whole interview.
You also ran into, this is the other, am I remembering this correctly? The other time you ran into him was when you just ran out of the bathroom. And
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want me to tell that story as well?
Sure. Why not? We got nothing else to
Alright.
talk about. So why don't
Oh,
you tell
God.
everyone about the story of you running out of the bathroom and basically plowing straight into David Beckham?
Oh, no.
So, it was so embarrassing. So bear in mind, we were 30 kids, like from East London, as you can imagine, probably not the most well-behaved children. We were at this sports club in Singapore, and it was so hot. And it was absolutely incredible. And we've been waiting a long time for these like Olympians and celebrities to, come. And as my mum's told me, stay hydrated, Danielle, keep drinking water. So I did that. I was bursting for the loo, absolutely bursting for the loo. And I've turned to my teacher and been like, I really need to go to the toilet. She's like, hurry up because David Beckham's going to arrive. Like, really, I shouldn't be letting you go. But I was like, I'm going to wet myself if you don't let me go. So I've ran like Usain Bolt to the toilets, done my business, washed my hands really quickly. There's no time for drying. There was no paper towels. I thought it's hot outside. It's fine. I'll just wipe my hands on my trousers. Well, I was wearing like camel coloured chinos, so the ones that really show the watermarks.
Yeah.
And they'll just dry instantly. It'll be fine. So I've come running out, and there's these shutter doors on the bathroom. So I've burst through them, not realising like how like loose they are. Burst through them, wiping my hands that are still wet on my chinos, soaking wet, and I've looked up and I've clocked eyes. Who with? David Beckham. He's burst out laughing.
Twice!
Yeah, that was
That's
the first
hilarious.
time that I met him. So he knew me as the kid that come bursting out the toilets covered in water, first of all, and then he sees me again beating the bejesus out of a translation pack.
What a trip! That's a good story.
Yeah, so
Fate brought you beside him twice.
he
Now
thinks
that
I'm
I'm-
hilarious.
It's a sign.
I actually had that on my Tinder bio for a while. Made David Beckham laugh twice.
That's pretty impressive.
And
Now
people
I'm-
were like, what?
I was walking past the bathroom and a girl came out and her hands were covered in liquid. Like, that would not be
Out
and
the
looking
bathroom.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know how to make an impression, don't you?
I look like the smelly
Yeah.
child at the time, clearly.
And it worked out well. London won the Olympics. So the French must have-
He must have
So
thought, wow, she's a smelly and aggressive child.
Was he wrong? I mean, you ripped the batteries out, so the aggression is definitely there.
I had to I wasn't going to be all like delicate with it when the whole of this huge auditorium that was staring at this one child, and I just had to.
Oh, well done.
Yeah,
That's where
that's
Danielle's
my story.
expertise was born, and that's why you can't do the Rose of Tralee because that sort of behaviour is not.
They wouldn't accept me.
Oh,
No, but you never know. You never know. Now, Rachel Lee Loftus here. She says, I have a question for all of you. So we'll go to Charlotte first, as I guess. What has been your favourite thing to do in lockdown? I unfortunately have been working, so haven't had the pleasure of getting to stay at home as much.
oh.
Your favourite thing to do in lockdown?
Oh, well, first of all, I love Rachel. What a pet. And I hope she gets a crowing very soon. But I think for me, it was definitely like I said at the start, raising £3,000 for Women's Aid. So Women's Aid is a charity that's really close to my heart. It's a charity that looks after women and children who suffer from domestic violence. And my mum's worked for the organisation for over 25 years. So I have like a very big understanding of that sort of abuse, and I've met so many of the families over the years, and I've been privileged enough to be in refuge on special occasions like Christmas Day and all different times. Anyway, so whenever it comes to any sort of fundraising, that's like my go-to charity. Even when I was doing my Galaxy fundraising, it was always for Women's Aid. So it only felt natural that during lockdown, as much as the NHS was obviously doing great things for the country, for me, any sort of fundraising was always going to be for Women's Aid. And the figures for domestic abuse went sky high in lockdown, because it's kind of the perfect environment for a perpetrator, isolating their partner completely from the outside world. So my mum's based at the police station, and she was just being inundated with referrals. It was just, she couldn't even keep up with them coming in. So anyway, I kind of started it wanting to raise, I think I said £200, and I just did like a little Facebook Live thinking, knowing pageant girls as they are, they're always keen to support each other, explained what I was doing it for. And I literally think within the first hour, I was already past £200, and I was pretty much fully booked. But what my proudest moment was, the busiest day I had was 30 FaceTime shoots.
Whoa.
And the night before, it was really good. The night before, I was horrendously ill with a sickness bug, as in constant vomiting from both ends. So ill. So ill. And I think my first slot was at 9. I had to book them obviously in days that my husband was off work, because he was working as normal because he's in the police. So I was being sick, and Alex was like, "You just have to cancel." I was like, "I am not cancelling. Like, how am I going to reschedule like 30 people in? Like, there's just no way. Obviously, the kids are off school and whatever else." I was like, "No." So I was really proud of myself, and it's kind of like typical me and my work ethic. Like, there's no excuse. I just like keep plodding on. So I had like a sick bucket in here. This is like my little room. I do my editing in a sick bucket. And literally between like every FaceTime shoot, I was just like being sick, like drinking a Barocca. Next girl, yeah, okay, be sick, Barocca. So that was my proudest moment. Push through. And I honestly felt like at the end, like my biggest fear being a wedding photographer is always like what if I'm ill on somebody's wedding day? Like, it always hangs over me that it's like this thing. But I did think it just shows that like if I have to, I can just push through and like put on a face and just quietly go and be sick.
Wow.
So anyway, so I've dropped my fear now of like I can do it. So yeah, that was my proudest moment during lockdown, like my favourite bit, and obviously raising that money, so it's good.
I feel that anyone going after that is going to seem like an anticlimax. But Chloe, what has been your favourite thing to do in lockdown?
For me, when lockdown was first announced, I had to leave work for several months because we decided to move my nana into my house with me. We didn't like the idea of carrying assistants, going from house to house, still visiting her. So we decided to move her in. And I love my nana to pieces. The past few months with her have been a blessing. I know the virus hasn't been a nice thing, but just to have her home with us and knowing that she's here and that she's looked after at all times, it feels incredible. And I'm not letting her go home. Even after the virus is gone, I am not letting my nana go home. She may stay here for the rest of her days. So for me, spending time with her, hearing all the stories from when she's little, she makes me laugh on the daily basis. She is my best friend, and spending time with her and my mum loves spending time with her mum as well. And for all of us, it's just been beautiful having her at home and spending time with her. And she's always been a very independent lady, and she owns her own bungalow, and she never asked for any help. But when we heard this was happening, we were like, you have to come with us now. And for me, the best thing has been having her here.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Oh, you guys would love her. I must bring Rosie on the podcast.
Get her on.
She's there now. Oh, she's asleep.
Oh no, she'll be really confused. I'll have to sit her down and explain to her beforehand. She can be quite funny sometimes.
Well, you might are as well, especially like Danielle. You need to prep your nana for. Maybe have a funny accent.
Maybe ease her in with a TikTok.
Yeah. She'd be so confused. She'd be like, "Are you on that Facebook again?"
Oh. Well, at least she calls it Facebook. My dad calls it face ache. He's so anti-social media.
Yeah, she just thinks.
Okay. Well, that's Chloe. Danielle, what about yourself? What has been your favorite thing to do in lockdown?
Oh, clearly challenging myself. For those that don't know, I lost my job during lockdown, and it's very easy to get bored, get in your own mind, go down a downward spiral, and not feel like yourself during these times. So I've really tried to be conscious of that and to push myself outside my comfort zones. Climbing the National Three Peaks was one of them. I climbed another mountain in Penavan. I ran 2.6 miles backwards. I
feel like that was the one that impressed me the most. Like, I couldn't believe that somebody could do that, like the backwards thing.
Run forward, literally.
Yeah, it was. And I did it at a good time, actually. I was quite impressed with myself. Yeah. I got a lot of weird looks.
Yeah, that was the bit that I find the most impressive. Like, I feel like I would be like wanting to explain to everyone, this is for charity, like, as I ran along.
Yeah. But I did for a few people. A few people were like looking at me, but luckily I went around quite a small park a few times. So when I passed the people a couple of times going backwards, I think they kind of got it.
Crazy girl still here.
Yeah, this lunatic walking backwards and running backwards. I had the big rainbow T-shirt on that said "thank you" underneath, and this is around the time when everyone was painting their rainbows, saying thank you to the NHS. So my favorite thing to do during lockdown is challenge on myself, and also winning my title before we went into lockdown, literally days pretty much before we all went into lockdown. It's been having to challenge my mind and coming up with other ways that I can, do my job as Miss Galaxy UK. So that's been my favorite part, because there's been a lot of sucky parts, but there's been a lot of good parts too.
Yeah, it's been a lot of sad stuff, but there has been some good to come out of it as well, definitely. Yeah. Now, just to back up for a second, talking about the dodgeball, Christine here said, "Wow, Danielle, badass." I
don't know about that. I haven't thrown a ball in a while. Back then, I was training quite a lot, like 3-4 nights a week we were training. So I was pretty strong and pretty good back then, but I don't know about now. I can throw a tennis ball.
Charlotte and Chloe would be happy to volunteer as your team.
I'm not going anywhere near Danielle in a sporting thing. No chance.
Target practice.
Why don't we all start?
If you catch the ball, it means I'm out. So if you catch the ball that I'm throwing at you, I'm out of the game.
It's fine. Just catch it.
So a lot of time I used to aim for people's feet. You don't ever want to aim for anyone's face, really. You want to get a body part, ideally. People think you just aim for people's heads. I don't. I used to aim for people's feet and ankles.
It's funny when it bounces off their head. Playing the game.
Those balls are heavy. People think that they're really light, and they're
I don't know light.
They're heavy. They're heavy duty. I've had plenty to the head, I tell you, and they are. Yeah, they're solid.
What were you going to suggest? I have a feeling you were going to suggest some sort of idea where we all line up.
Yeah, we should have a dodgeball team. Us all together? No.
Oh my god, that's a great
idea. I'm not doing any sporting event with Danielle. Let's clear that up now. I'm terrified.
I'm just imagining it being like the dodgeball movie where we all get to.
Oh my god. We can have outfits, uniforms.
Yeah.
That would be good. Maybe we could do that. When I do the pageant Olympics, I'll add dodgeball in there.
Oh,
There you
yeah.
go. Right, Charlotte, consider yourself conscripted.
Oh god.
It's like Charlotte, you can stick with the egg and spoon race.
Honestly, I've got dyspraxia, which a lot of people don't know what that is, and they go, because I've got dyslexia as well, and they go, oh, it's dyspraxia numbers, and I'm like, no, it's nothing to do with numbers. I don't know if any of you know what dyspraxia is, but it means like your coordination is basically nil, which is why I drop things all the time. I'm clumsy, I've like got no like spatial awareness, so I'll often like walk like out in front of somebody when I think that there's enough room for both of us to go. So I just look rude a lot of the time, but it's actually like my brain measures space differently. So anyway, when I didn't know this until I was 21, and I did a dyslexia test at university, and then it came back like there's all sorts. But anyway, dyspraxia is one of them. But it was like seeing a fortune teller, because she was like, have you struggled with sports? I was like, yes. She was like, have you dropped things? I was like, oh my gosh, this is me. This is like so me. So anyway, now I'm quite glad that I've been told this, because I can just say to people, no, I've got dyspraxia. This is why I'm terrible at sports. I'm just going to sit on a Peloton. I'm just doing my own thing solo. Thank you very much. What, Adrian?
I was just saying, I had no idea. I mean, have you dropped like cameras and stuff, or do you have troubles driving?
No. It's like minor things. It's not something that like affects like my day-to-day life at all. But it does go. It's very common with people with dyslexia that it usually runs alongside each other. And yeah, like I say, it's just basic things like that. And it's more kind of if I'm walking with somebody, like my mum used to tell me off about it all the time. Like if we were walking through town, we were shopping together, like I would like start veering into her. So
I do that too.
Do you? It's
yeah,
like
I thought that was amazing. I always thought it was because my balance is off. No, maybe I might have that.
Maybe you have it. But yeah, I've always really struggled at sports and like coordination and anything to do with like that kind of thing. My brain just doesn't work it out. Which is why I hated PE at school, and I had a terrible PE teacher. And if I ever see her, I literally feel like I'm not a violent person, but I want to have a go at her, because she knocked my confidence for sport altogether. And then it wasn't until I was like in my 20s and I got into the gym and like solo things that I actually really enjoyed sports, but just not as a team thing. So it kind of goes back to show like how teachers can, if they knock your confidence, it really can ruin it for people. But yeah, anything to do with balls flying at my face, like they say in Clueless, coming out.
That's fair enough. That makes sense. Now, Christine Kohler over in Chicago again. Charlotte, when you were talking about Women's Aid, I don't know if you can answer this question, but she said, Charlotte, this is incredible. Hits home. Lost my best friend who was killed by her boyfriend. How can we help you here in the Midwest?
Oh, Christine, that's a really horrendous story, but sadly it just happens all the time and it's not reported. So I think the figures, actually I can't say the figures because I can't quote them, but I remember like my mum does a lot of talks to GPs, midwives and different things, and it's just shocking how many women are killed a week in the UK from domestic violence. But that's really sweet of you saying how you can help, but the campaign is finished now. It got to a point when I was pretty much like, it took over my life, and with the FaceTime shoots, and Alex, my husband, was like, please, can this stop? But you know when you're like, well, I've got to £1,000 now. Okay, right. Well, I've got to £1,500 now. I'll just get to £2,000. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to have to just stop it. And I was still being inundated with girls saying that they wanted to get involved, which was lovely. So I left like the gift just giving, but I said, I just can't afford the time at the minute with lockdown and homeschool and whatever. But yeah, thank you, Christine. But yeah, my personal campaign finished mid-lockdown, but I appreciate that. But there's always, if you just even Google Women's Aid UK or Northern Ireland, there you can donate on their website. Yeah.
And as you mentioned, domestic violence and mental health have both been really critical issues during lockdown. So I'm sure I think, Kristen, you're in Chicago. I'm sure there's there are organisations that would be dedicated to helping with domestic violence near where you're at as well. Now, I just want to move towards a close because we've been on for an hour already, and I don't want to keep you guys forever. Also, there's a few things here that I just wanted to mention quickly. But both Elizabeth Coulthard here and Timothy have said that they both have, Timothy has said, my brother had severe dyspraxia as a child, and Elizabeth actually says she has dyspraxia. It's so misunderstood. So, wow. Well, there you go, Charlotte. There's two people there who have it as well.
It is really common, and like I say, a lot of people who've got dyslexia have it. But I guess it's not really mentioned. I mean, it doesn't affect my life. I'm never going to be somebody who goes, oh, you know, this is a terrible thing, because it's not. It literally has no effect. But it just actually helps you understand sort of why, you know, maybe you do sort of trip up or do things, almost knowing that it's not just because, you know, you're that clumsy friend. I don't know, it makes me feel a bit better. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? In like a weird way. When I spoke to the woman about it all and kind of heard what it's about, I understood myself more, and a lot of things, like it was like pieces of a jigsaw that were kind of put together and go, no, it makes total sense.
I found out I had dyslexia when I was 22 also, and I exactly the same. I was like, oh my goodness, like, yes, it all makes sense now. So it was nice to kind of get a diagnosis, even though it kind of messed me up a little bit because I found out so late on in life. I was a bit like, why did no one tell me when I was younger? Why did no one see this? But
they might have done. I mean, my mum would go on at my primary school like for years, and she had terrible guilt about it. But anyway, long story short, it just the way it was. But it's fine now.
I think you learn how to hide it as well, because I hid it but so well, like I just cracked on with life. But it wasn't until I was studying for my dissertation I thought, you know what, I'm actually really struggling with this. Similar kind of experience.
I love that attitude that you just crack on with it. I mean, we've all got issues, obviously, some worse than others, and I love the fact you didn't let it stop you. But as I said, let's move towards the close. I just have a few things I want to ask. Charlotte, you were doing a podcast before. Is it Wedding Talk? I think it was.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, I've stopped it now. It was like a 6-part podcast series, and it was kind of at a time when the wedding industry, everything was just being cancelled, and obviously I did have like a little bit of extra free time in my hands, and I'm never ever the type to have free time and just sit and watch TV. That's just not me. So I'm always like, what can I do with this spare hour in an evening? So I started this podcast, and it was really nice. And I was just interviewing like industry experts, and it's on Spotify for anybody that is getting married. There's a friend getting married. You just type in Wedding Talk Charlotte, it would come up. And it was really nice to just kind of chat to people about weddings, because I've kind of forgotten that I'm a wedding photographer. And now all my 2021 weddings, a lot of them are now being pushed to 2022, and it's just so scary. Not for me personally scary, but just for that industry. I'm lucky to have, like, obviously other avenues of income through photography, but for the wedding industry, it's just so bizarre.
It's sad too, because couples spend years saving. A lot of people struggle to be able to afford their weddings. They spend years saving for their dream wedding, and it just must be so disappointing for them, especially couples who wait like 10 years, and it's just really sad.
It's so bizarre. But I've had I have got a couple that are still going ahead, and they are just sticking to the 6. And I still think it's going to be like, they're almost just embracing it, thinking, okay, let's just go for it now, because they've changed their date a couple of times. And I think it'll be really nice, just in a really different way. But
yeah,
I suppose the people that want to kind of get the married part done, they can have a nice intimate thing now, and then once restrictions are loosened, then have a big party then, a big reception then, and you'll have plenty of time to save up and make it bigger and better. It's trying to look on it's horrible thing, but try and look on the positive side of it as well.
There it is.
Yay!
So 6 episodes there. Will you ever revisit it, Charlotte, or it was a project?
I would love to. I mean, it was a bit of like a personal project as well, and I've like so much respect for yourselves and like Jessica Barkley, who do the Pageant podcast. It takes a lot of time and a lot of organisation, and to get the guests on, and it was really, really fun. But I think at the moment, unless I ever sort of outsource bits of editing or things, I wouldn't have that kind of free time. But because it is an effort, isn't it? It does take these things a lot of effort to do.
A lot of time that a lot of people don't realize until they try doing it themselves. And then the more people you have on, the more things can go wrong. So I will say I've got the Intercontinental Games night coming up this Friday night, and that's going to have like 9 people on. So I'm just praying the technology works for me, because that's going to be interesting. All right, that's Charlotte's podcast. Now, Chloe, as we mentioned last week, has her Coco Lou business, and they just announced, and I hope I'm not going to embarrass Chloe here, but they just announced the winner of their giveaway.
Oh, yes,
Chloe,
we
do
do.
you know
What did Danielle win?
Yeah.
Did she win? Was that a bit of a fix?
Oh, I'm gone.
I was going to say.
No, it actually was my mom did it, and she was like, Chloe, Miss Galaxy. And I was like, that's Danielle. She's on the podcast. And
I
it
didn't know
was so
whether-
funny. That's exactly what I said. I was like, everyone's going to say it's a mom.
I thought that as well, and I wasn't sure. I was like, who am I talking to? Am I talking to Chloe here? Am I talking to someone else? Because I knew it was like a collaboration within your family. So I was like, maybe it's the family member I'm talking to. But I figured it would be your mum that I was talking to. She was like,
My mom has.
I was like, yay!
She has just been in her element with this. This is just everything that she's ever loved, and it's incredible just seeing how happy she is doing it, and she just can't wait to. Everybody tries everything, and yeah,
I'm so excited.
Really excited.
I went for the 24 karat moisturizer. Guys, this has real gold in it. It has real 24 karat gold in this moisturizer. It is bougie AF.
So why is gold good for your skin?
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Why is gold good for your skin?
You probably better to answer that than me, Chloe. Is it
like I
supposed to
said before?
Let's get it up.
Yeah,
It tells you in the breakdown. I know I used to work for Lush, so I should really know this. Is it like is it neutralizing because of the ions in the metal? Make it really good for your skin.
I think so. My mom is the expert in all this, and it's so funny because she was like sending me these courses to do, being like, I'm not actually going to let you make the creams unless you do the courses. And I'm like the little packager person. She makes me package everything up, and she's like, unless you know what everything means, I'm not letting you do the important stuff. Bless her, but it's like a baby to her. She just loves it. And I'm just so happy for her that she's found something she really enjoys. Because I think that's just the beauty in life, really. You spend your whole life working for jobs that don't really make you happy. And when you finally do something that you love, it's sweet.
Yeah. Can I also just say, Chloe, I have recognized that the Jack Frost photo is no longer there.
I showed Mom the video, and she's like, oh no, I take it down. And I was like, no, it's funny. And she took it down.
I feel really sad. I feel like I scared him away. I want a scary snowman photo.
I'll ask her to...
Here we go.
I'm going to ask her to put it back up.
I've got up the benefits of gold on your skin. So it is stimulates skin cells. The ions present in gold help stimulating the cells, nerves, and veins in your body. This leads to improved blood circulation, prevents premature aging to the skin, and what else is there? Yeah, wrinkles, and prevents aging and spots and all that, and lines and all that good stuff. So I'm very excited to try it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, again, wrapping things up. So Danielle will be expecting a package from Chloe, and Danielle Days has a very special day. And for that special day, I've also got you more stuff from Chloe's store. So look out for 2 packages.
Yay!
So sweet.
I'm so
but
excited.
Birthday is on Wednesday. I'm getting the time zones mixed up, right? You're the 8th of October.
Thursday, 8th, yeah.
So
Wednesday or Thursday? 8th.
Tuesday. Oh, yeah, it's Tuesday. I'm getting the time zones mixed up. 8th. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're the day after my dad. Okay.
Yay.
So happy birthday.
Thank
Thursday.
you.
Happy
Thank you.
birthday. We
Ooh,
should have
big-
had a birthday podcast. We should have brought little party hats and snacks.
We can do that next week.
Oh,
We can.
yeah.
All those sorts of ideas to you, by the way, because I spend so much time, as Charlotte said, running around trying to find guests and trying to control. You can have all the good ideas, and you can take all the credit for all the good ideas, whilst I just try to keep the ship running. So definitely, because we had like a Halloween like episode 2 with Maria Torres, and we were all dressed up.
Yeah, that was fun.
Had like a cat. She was a cat. Lauren was something I don't remember. I had the scary mask. So yeah, more. Well, it's coming up to Halloween again, Chloe, and that's your favorite time of the year.
That
So
could be
get
your
on.
job, Chloe.
Yeah, Halloween is literally my favorite time of the year. In my hometown in Derry, a couple of years back, we were actually voted Halloween Town of the World.
Oh my God.
We have huge firework displays and like crazy events in the town, and literally people flying through the skies. It is incredible, the shows that they put on. And it's just really sad that that's not going forward this year. And yeah,
Well,
it's
you can bring it to life on the podcast.
Yeah. And maybe next year we could go live from Derry and everyone can join in with us.
I love that idea. I also love the idea that you put
Yeah.
in the group chat about doing one live from Vegas. I just feel that's so appropriate. Probably before we go and hit the casinos. But
Yeah.
Chloe, all those creative ideas, that's you. That's your strength.
What about your my cat idea? Are you going to do that one?
I can't take the cat outside. Have you ever tried carrying a panicking cat?
You can put it in a little box. No.
I don't want to put him in a box to make him have his nails done. He's gonna freak out. That's horrible. No. It's okay if I embarrass
No,
myself.
he doesn't really have to have his nails done.
Charlotte is utterly confused right now. We were gonna try and get Adrian.
Chloe
to,
wants to take his nails done.
No.
Oh, you
Yeah,
can't
I was
need the
gonna-
nails done.
Charlotte, it
Well,
needed
he doesn't need a manicure.
no, it needed a pedicure.
Oh.
A kitty cat.
No, the idea was we could have like a prank segment of the podcast, and every week one of us has a challenge to take our GoPros somewhere and like play a prank on someone.
Oh, I
And
love
my
a good
idea
prank.
was that Adrian should take his cat to the pet store and pretend he wants to buy it some nail polish and ask the member of staff, oh, have you got any nail polish that would suit my cat? And see how they react.
Oh my
Like
God.
obviously get their permission before we put it in the podcast. But it would just be a really funny segment to every week if we dare each other to do something outrageous and funny. It would just be a little.
I would be
Yeah.
more, but I would not be able to do that with. I wouldn't be able to get through the sentence. Like nail polish for my cat. I'm like, oh God.
Yeah.
I love that. That's like my dream job, actually, to be like a prankster who is like doing that all the time. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Okay, I will see, Chloe. I have a pet store that I know. I'll see if I can hook that up. I thought you wanted me to take my cat to like a beautician and have it like, because there's people
No.
who speak English anyway. For me to bring it back and say, "Can you do his nail?" They'd be like, "No."
But what if they said
That would be a
yes?
funny one as well.
But what
Danielle, we're
if they
never
said
going to
yes?
find out. I'm not going to take him with Corona. I'm not going to take him into like a beauty salon. And if we get him waxed, that'll be funny.
Oh.
Anyway, finally, before we call it quits, Danielle, you haven't told everyone what you signed up for on a whim this week.
Oh yeah. yesterday when I was out doing my conservation volunteering, the area is very popular with runners, and of course it was the Virgin London Marathon yesterday, and as we all know, the ballot opens up again on race day, so I have joined the ballot for the London Marathon 2021, so fingers crossed I will get a place. If not, I will try and secure a charity place, but fingers crossed. This is 8th time lucky. I ran the marathon back in 2013 and I've entered the ballot every year since and not got a place, so fingers crossed it is 8th time lucky this
I can't
year.
believe like there's actually like it's so popular and people want the places.
I agree. I'm like,
have mine, please.
Well, I did it. When I did it, it was absolute hell. I'm not going to lie. So anyone that's thinking of doing a marathon, really do your research and do your training. I got injured at the 8th mile and I finished just over 6 hours. And for me, that wasn't the time that I had my heart on. So I really want to go back and beat that time. And in the meantime, raise loads of money for my selected charity.
I think like marathons though, like people can just sign up to them on a whim. You definitely have done this because I know that you do lots of like sporting stuff, dodgeball, etc. But I do think some people do sign up to it and they don't realize how hard it's going to be. And before I was pregnant, I was really into running and I was like part of a running group. And I never forget that they said like if you couldn't run a half marathon within a certain time or a full marathon by a certain time, you really shouldn't be pushing your body to that level. And I think the half marathon was 2 hours. I think they said if you run it over 2 hours, you should be doing 10Ks. And this is why some people drop dead during a marathon because they're just pushing their body like when they haven't built. So it is one of those things that like you do actually have to properly do the training and not just saying, oh, well, wing it.
Yep, you need a training schedule as well. Don't just think, oh, I'll go out for a run, every morning. You need a training schedule that is set, that you stick to. It was just unfortunate that I got an injury. But I was so frustrated at myself because I had started my training in October and I was like, I was running so well and I ran like, you don't have to run a full marathon before you do the marathon. I ran up to like a 3/4 of a marathon, like I think a month prior, because you need to rest out just before the marathon. And I did that in a really great time and I didn't feel too terrible afterwards. So I was just like, right, let's do this. And then it was just unfortunate. So now I kind of want to get back to that peak physical fitness again. Like I said, this was 7 years ago and I was a lot fitter than what I am now.
Oh, you'll easily do it.
So fingers crossed.
Yeah, you can do it. You climbed 3 mountains and you're telling me you're not fit enough?
Which was
like, I can't even climb one mountain.
It was essentially a marathon in the climbing the mountains. So I keep saying to people, I climbed a marathon on mountains. And
that's uphill, so yeah.
And downhill is worse on the knees. So
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a fan of downhill at all.
So fingers crossed I get a place, but as soon as I find out in January whether I get a place or not. If not, I will be looking for a position via a charity because it's something that I want to do while I still have my title. I'll be handing over next year November, so I would have just completed it before I hand over my UK title.
Amazing. Well, that is definitely something to work towards. Okay, so we will leave it there. Just one final comment. Rachel Lee has said, I'm dyslexic too. That might explain my Ford Galaxy last year. Charlotte and Beth's face were hilarious as I got up so fast. I think it's Kiara Meechan also has that one that Amy Mizek put up on her TikTok, where she's just walking along and Kiara's in the background and Amy's walking.
Oh, yeah.
And she's got bang.
And she just sat there like a little doll.
Yeah.
Apparently she had blood gushing down from her knee after that, so it was like a properly bad fall, but she laughed it off. And Amy found it very funny. She was snorting, which I thought was actually the funniest part of the TikTok. Amy snorting. But anyway, look, thanks everyone for tuning in. And obviously, Charlotte, thank you for being our guest.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime. And thanks to Chloe and Danielle as well, as usual. I'll keep you guys on the line in just a sec. But thanks again to everyone for watching, and we will speak to you next time.
Bye.
Hey, it's Adrian again. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Remember to head up to pageantlaunch.com to join the launch team for our pageant review site. All you have to do is enter your email address. It's completely free. And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to share it with your friends and follow us on all our socials. Thanks, and see you next time.